Hello all. Let's take these off. I was set up doing a video for my new channel, Soku Perspective, which will be about male grooming and style and fashion and all that good stuff. So I thought I would do a video for you guys on my Soku Speaks S. Massimo channel. Yeah. And Soku Perspective will be out soon. Keep an eye out. Today I'm doing this video because I want to talk to you guys about talking and communication in general in families, talking about issues and situations. In a lot of families, especially families who have a lot of issues that are passed down from mother to daughter, father to son, mother to son, in a lot of situations, many situations, including my own, and father to daughter, so on and so forth. Families seem to think that if you don't talk about things, that they just go away and they don't exist. And for me, that's never been okay. It's something that I had learned to do through my family, but I've never really been okay with it. And in my in my teen and adult life, I made the conscious decision to work towards that not being okay, that not being my default. If something is wrong, I just don't talk about it and eventually it'll go away. That doesn't work. There are so many people hurting because they feel they have no one to talk to, they have no one to go to, specifically in their family, because that's just not what your family does. Oh, we don't talk about the crazy uncle, or we don't talk about the abuse that happened. We don't talk about if someone's not feeling well, or if people are being picked on in school. You better do what the hell you got to do and get it together. You don't talk back. You don't have an opinion. And I understand some of that, but especially with parents and the older generation, you have to give your children a platform in where they are comfortable talking to you, because if they don't, they pass all that negativity on to further generations. And I speak from experience, and I've learned some very major things about my family in recent history that blows my mind. And I'm not going to share those because they're personal things, and they're not all my situations to share with you. But there are things that gave me such a clarity on why things have been the way they've been for so many years. For so many years. Like, there are people in my family I didn't have a relationship with. I just didn't groove with them, and we just didn't click. And I never really understood why. They never did anything to me personally. I just didn't click with them. And now, like, within the last few days, hearing certain things, I realize why. There's just some people your soul you can't mesh with. You just can't. For whatever reason, no matter how hard you try, you just cannot mesh with these people. And no matter how close they're supposed to be to you because of blood or whatever the case may be. And that is what happened. And I didn't know why. No one ever wants to talk about anything in my family. And because of that, I feel like I have no personal history. And I am aware that a lot of this, and especially in the black community, goes all the way back to slavery, where they didn't want you to know your name. They didn't want you to know where you came from, who your people were. So a lot of us took on the slave masters' history and their family name because we were owned, we were property. But you can't let that continue. Like, it needs to stop here. It really needs to stop here. And I refuse to let that to continue on in my family, at least as far as I'm concerned. I refuse. And in my family, and this may sound cocky, but especially as a grandchild, and I have no children of my own, I'm the patriarch in my family and have been for many years. People have come to me for advice. to do things for them, whatever the case may be. I don't go out to people for stuff. Like, that's just not me. It's never been me. Um, but people come to me for that, and I realize that I have that role in my family, and that's not taking anything away from anybody else. For me, it's just the reality. It really is. Um, so if any of my family members happen to see this and take some offense to it, I mean none. Uh, so it just is what it is, and it's not something that I am trying to be. I feel like it's just something that's been placed upon me and a responsibility that I guess I can handle. So that's why I have it. But my point is that when you, like, there are people who've been abused and raped and their mothers and fathers or whatever. No, that couldn't have happened. Uncle so and so couldn't have done that. Your stepfather couldn't have done that. It just doesn't happen. It's not okay. And I realize with that that's partially because, one, you as a parent don't want to take responsibility for the fact that you weren't there when your child was hurt. But it is very important, especially for your child, because not only does that do damage to the child when these things happen, they lose trust in you and they lose trust in themselves. And this is where we have all these people with all these mental issues, and they're misbehaving and they're acting out sexually at an early age because this is what they were taught. And obviously, it's okay for me to be this way because my parent didn't acknowledge that when this was done to me and it was wrong. It's just, it's a problem. And you really need to open the doors of communication. That's one thing I will always give my mother. She, I was, I was taught to speak out and know when certain things were going on and aware. Like, it is never too early to have that conversation with your children about people touching them and things of that nature. And I'm focusing on this because this is um, around the realm of things that I've been hearing with so much, like, it's just crazy, the stuff that I've been hearing, and not just from my family, just in general. And like, and I used to work in the child service industry as far as child protective services and things of that nature, working as a behavioral assistant and working with troubled youth. Excuse me, and I've been counseling pretty much my whole life. So I understand a lot of these things. So I just really say all this, like, to really understand where we are going as a people. We need to deal with the things that happened in the past. Just because they're in the past and everybody's always like, oh, it's the past, move on. It's not always that easy. You have to deal with your past to move on from it. And I agree that you should move on from your past, but if you have an anchor on you and it's weighing on your soul and you haven't done what you've needed to do to get past that, you're not going to be able to move forward. You're not. And I am absolute proof of that. I held on to so much stuff throughout my life and it just kept me down. It really did. And I allowed other people to pile stuff on top of that. And I was so angry and I was so hurt. And I just realized, like, that was then. And yes, I'm still getting through a lot of that stuff and I'm still working through all that. But for the most part, I have made amends with a lot of different things. And I'm moving forward with a lot of different things. And I'm healing. That is the most important thing, that I'm healing and moving forward. Not just forgetting and pushing it under the carpet, because when you just push stuff under the carpet, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out eventually. You can't just hide it. You have to fix it. It's like a festering infectious wound you have. You can't just wrap it up and hope it gets okay. No, you have to tend for it. You have to take care of it. You have to put some medicine on it to heal it, to help it heal. You have to clean it out, get all those germs out of there, get that dirt out of there, get all that disgusting, festering pus, get it all out of there. And I'm doing this like I split my wrist or something. I didn't, I swear. But just for example. So really, just like I said, you have to deal with things in the past to move forward. You can't just forget them and let them go. And people, no matter how much people will encourage you to do that, you have to get it out. However you choose to get it out, whether it's writing, singing, dancing, talking, going to a therapist. People, do not be afraid to seek out mental health. Do not be afraid to go see a psychiatrist, a therapist, a counselor, go to a group meeting or something. Do something. Whatever it is you need to do to be okay, do that. As long as it's not hurting anyone else physically, spiritually, do what you need to do for you so that you can be okay. And don't allow this silence to continue, because silence is deadly. Silence is so deadly. You need to talk about what's going on with you and what's happened. And for me, like I was saying before, because of the fact that my family doesn't want to talk about things, I feel like the good things in our history get thrown out with the bad things, because to get to those good things, you have to go through the bad things and remember the bad things, because it's all in the same time and it's all intertwined. And so me personally, I've lost out on so much rich history and experience that my family's been through, good, bad, and indifferent, because no one wants to talk. No one wants to deal with those bad things, because there are people who are 50 and 60 and 70 and 80 years old who haven't dealt with these problems that they've had since they were kids. And that's just not okay. And it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to the people coming up behind me. And if I was to have kids, I would be ashamed that I had no information to give them about my family history. And that sucks. And that's for a lot of black families in the United States. But you have to stop that now. Like, you have to stop that now. And I'm not doing this video just because this is Black History Month or anything like that. Like, I'm not that person. I do celebrate Black History Month, but the way I celebrate Black History Month is by being and doing the very best that I can to move forward in my life and to benefit the world, the community, and everyone. That's how I celebrate Black History Month, and I do that all the time. I don't need a month to force me to celebrate and recognize my history and who I am and what I'm doing in my life. And I feel like I just went crazy cockeyed. But I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up, because this bird is driving me crazy. I think I pretty much got my point across. And I hope that this video helps someone, and that this is out here for a reason, that I'm doing this for a reason. I know why I'm doing it. I just hope it is helping you. So leave a comment below, whatever the case may be. Like, subscribe, and all that. And like I said, my Soku Perspective channel will be out soon. Love you guys. Grow. Move forward. Much love. Deuces. What's Saeed? Right, I'm not. You have to deal with that stuff, and this bird is driving me crazy. I swear. Every time I'm trying to do a video, he wants to flip out. And I'm really trying to be serious here, because that's what this shit is about.